Kind of sweating.
Might have just thrown my back out.
Dude.
All
Oh,
right.
that hurt.
Nick, ready?
Yep.
Jeff, ready?
Yep, let's do this.
Freshly picked and ready for consumption. Here comes another round of the Radishcast.
Big time rivalry week Radishcast coming in for you. I'm your fearless commissioner and bitch slapper Mike Fisher. Along with me, just like every time, are my co-hosts Nick Spillstole and Jeff. I just want John to finish below me, Gregory. Let's turn some rumors into facts. So, how you guys doing today, Jeff? How you been?
Busy, but this is what I've been looking for all week, so I'm ready to go. Let's get this rolling.
How's your back feel?
I don't know. I was doing some stretches before this, just getting in the groove and trying to loosen up, and might have tweaked my back a little bit. Getting old sucks.
Dude, you don't stretch.
That's why you got hurt.
I try to.
Nick, how you doing today?
I'm good. Switching a night shift this last week, so your boy's a little tired, but
Getting ready to go into work, huh?
oh yeah, a couple hours here, which sucks. Nice Friday night work session.
Classic. Working 9 to 5, but not the good one. So yeah, no, big week in the league this week. We got rivalries to go over. We got a lot of playoff implications coming up on this week. So no, it's a big show. It's a good show. But we'll actually start it off just talking a little question that came in from the league that got a little bit of love, but. I just wanted to take a minute to talk about each other and how we're doing as Radishcast hosts. So, Jeff, if you had to rank the three of us, 1, 2, 3 in terms of accuracy, delivery, everything, what are some things you want to point out?
Well, I'm number one, so I'll be at the
gosh.
top there. No, I'm kidding.
Dude.
I don't know. I mean, overall, I think we all have our strengths and weaknesses. I think, Mike, you do a hell of a job kind of flowing the show, and Nick providing sometimes some pretty good insight, sometimes some questionable insight, which makes it
That's for sure.
fun. So I think the big thing about this that I want to comment on is just that it's a lot of fun to spend an hour with you guys every week doing this. So
Yeah, I'd agree with that, and I'm hoping as the Radishcast continues to move on and evolve here, we can start involving some other members of the league too, and get a chance to bullshit with them throughout the league. Maybe a little bit of foreshadowing there. But Nick, what about you? Who's got your vote for best Radishcast host?
Well, definitely not me. I mean, my picks have all sucked pretty much. My guarantees not great. I'm losing in the pick for records. Jeff's up there in first, so I mean, host-wise, Mike, you do a hell of a job like Jeff said, moving the cast along. But Jeff's picks have been good for week to week, minus the guarantees. But as we heard last week,
Yeah,
it's a tough one.
if I was gonna have to vote, I'd probably vote for myself because I'm not humble. But I gotta go ahead and give Jeff an award that I've been sitting on here. So Jeff, with your accuracy and your picks, you're currently leading the standings. So I will hand this off to you.
Mike's Radishcast host of the week.
You are our winner.
So Jeff is my Radishcast host of the week, which does unfortunately mean that Nick, you lose.
I'll take it, dude. We got a week left here, man.
Yeah. So anyway, we'll start to get into some more league related topics, but quickly I want to touch on obviously we're a week away from playoffs. Both for the championship and the toilet bowl. I just want to retouch on some of those, some of the, how that works, some of the tiebreakers, things like that. So I'll get us started with more of the how. So I just want to reiterate, seeds 1 through 3, those are coming from division winners. So Right now it's looking like Benny, either Troy or Cooley, and then either Tony or Monroe is going to get those three division-winning seeds, and then the top 2 of those will get a first-round bye. The next 3 are going to come down to record as well as some tiebreakers. Nick, I know you did some intense research into the tiebreakers. You want to walk us through just the order of those?
Yeah, I can go. I'm not going to go through all of them, obviously, because there's so many different options. But yeah, intense research is an understatement. I spent a couple hours at work going through all the different possibilities.
The perfect time to do it.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, night shift's slow. But yeah, looking through here, there's a couple interesting situations. I mean, you got Kyle and Tony fighting for that number 1 bye in Kyle's situation, but the division lead in general. And then going into, there's a couple situations where we have a 4-way tie between, what is it? It would be like me, Stank, Troy, and Joe. That super tiebreaker implications go into that, and I'm not going to dive into right now. But
you want to just talk about
the
general order of the tiebreakers if something like that were to come up?
Yeah. So right now it would be head-to-head first, and then after that it would be points for. So the head-to-head, it's a winning percentage. So if it's a 3-way tie, whoever has the best head-to-head basically would get the playoff spot.
Gotcha. Yeah.
I think one thing that to note on all these is that it's week 13 and no one's secured anything yet. All these 1 through 6 seeds can be up for grabs. So it's pretty exciting. And this is a week that everyone's got to tune into to see where not only picks, but also what the ranking and the seeding goes into the playoffs are.
Yeah, this is a huge week. The only person that can maybe relax a little bit is Benny's got a first-round bye secured, but even then, this week's games determine whether he's the 1 seed or the 2 seed, so still implications there. Jumping over to the other side, I want to take a look at the consolation bracket a little bit, or the toilet bowl more appropriately named. So I just wanted to give everybody some heads up, what it looks like. If you go into the CBS app right now and you open up that toilet bowl, that's not going to be accurate right now. I will have to manually reseed it because since we are playing in the format of if you lose, you move on, actually the worst 2 teams will get a bye. So right now, Jordan and Jeff will actually have byes in the consolation bracket. The reason for that is when you lose, you move on. The person who loses out the rest of the games this year is the toilet bowl champ, gets that toilet trophy, and everything that goes along with it. Has to make a hype video for the season next year. A lot of really fun stuff. So, Jeff, is there any interesting things going on in the toilet bowl world since you're going to be a member there, and along with myself?
Just fighting to not be that first round bye in the toilet bowl. I think losing 3 straight is pretty hard. So if you can avoid that first round bye in the toilet bowl, I think your chances go up tremendously. So for me personally, I'm just doing whatever I can to not be that one, Jordan's got the 1 seed there, but not be the number 2 seed. So, and I also don't want to be the one that has to do the hype video at the end of the year. So,
yeah, that I'm actually really, really hoping. I'm rooting for Jordan every week. I hope Jordan gets a win pretty much every week. But it would be kind of funny to see him make that video. No offense, Jordan, but I think that would be the ideal situation. But all right, with some of that out of the way, obviously, as always, if you guys got questions on any of the playoffs or brackets or why a tiebreaker fell how it did, feel free to reach out. I'm happy to look into anything. I'm probably not going to change anything unless it's obvious that something went wrong or something was not according to our rules. I will always fall back on that rule document that I sent out to the whole league. I have a separate copy saved of my own that no one has access to, so nothing can ever get changed on accident. So that's always what I'm going to fall back to. So feel free to reach out if you got questions. I know you guys aren't shy to do that already. So with that, we'll jump into to some football-related topics. I just want to quick touch. So the three of us have been picking for a while now, not including the matchups we're about to go over. So up until this week, it was sitting with Jeff at 14-4, leading the way. Me at 13-5, one game behind, and Nick at 12-6, another game behind me. So that's what it is before what we're about to go over, and I'll update you after the Radish recap here. But let's hop into it.
This here's the Radish recap.
All right, so the Radish recap, taking a look at last week's game. So we'll start off with Coach Jeff Gregory and Jay's Juggernauts taking on Coach Tony Fisher and the Aaron Rodgers football team. So Jeff was a 5-point favorite. Looks like Tony took the win though, 125-118. So all of us picked Tony to cover. I think you guys picked Jeff to win, despite even with Tony covering. But that doesn't matter. All of us got this one right. Nick, what were you seeing in this one?
Jeff, you came close here. You put up a fight like we thought you were going to, but yeah, Matt Ryan with 14, and then Jacobs only having 3.9 really hurt you, especially against Tony leading the division, having a pretty strong showing from everyone here. Eckler looked good last week, really good. I think he had like 16 targets or something like that.
Yeah,
it's hard when your running back gets that many targets against you. So good effort, Jeff, but just not enough there.
Yeah, and I know going into that game, Jeff, you were going into that Seattle game, you were pretty hopeful that Chris Carson would just, maybe get hurt right away and not play, and then you'd be able to squeak away with it. But that all went away when he got that touchdown. Jeff, regretting any of your matchup decisions or anything like that?
I was really hoping Chris Carson would, like the first play or something would tweak an ankle and be out the rest of the game. Nothing serious, but just sit out. Just a minor injury. Come on, you can ask for a little bit of luck. But no, I look at my lineup. I would have played it that way pretty much every time. Matt Ryan, like Nick mentioned, didn't do very well, and Jacobs had obviously a way below average game for him, and big thing Kenyon Drake got stuffed at the 1 yard line right before halftime. I was tuned into that game pretty heavily, and once that happened,
I feel like that's been a theme for games of yours. Oh man, he's the 1 yard line. If Jacobs would have just got in, if Drake would have just got in, feels like a regular.
I'm the only team that has those problems. Everyone else gets a running back that sneaks in somehow, and my guys get stuffed. But no, made it interesting. I was hoping I would win this one, but Tony got me.
Yeah. Looking at it, you'd have had to be pretty much perfect with your lineup choices and everything like that. And it doesn't help when Tony's able to lean on getting Eckler back healthy, and Wayne Gallman comes through. Like he's been surprisingly good for several weeks now, 4 or 5 weeks now. Mm-hmm. So not a long-term asset, but he's getting the job done when people need him. So. Yeah, we'll move on to our next one. So we got Ball is Life and Coach John Lamers versus Benny and the Jets and Ben Stelzer. Ben was a 31-point favorite in this one. I'm the only one that picked him to cover, and I'm a genius. So what can I say?
Jesus.
Ben takes it 110-77. Obviously we all talked about this one on the last show and how it's a 30-point margin. How you picking? Well, you're picking a 30-point margin because Ben's been playing out of his mind and John's been playing absolutely terrible. Jeff, what are you seeing in this one? I know you're rooting against John and week in and week out.
Yeah, we love to see John do terrible. I think all three of us can agree on that.
We on the show.
Yes, as a cast.
Big time enemy of the show.
Yeah, so John can continue to kind of keep sucking. That wouldn't hurt anyone's feelings. But yeah, you touched on it, 31 points. I mean, that's a lot. I look at Will Fuller and Aaron Rodgers on Benny's team, and that's pretty much the two guys that pulled it out for him. He didn't have anyone else on his side that went off, and if anything, they went below average, it looks like. So John just didn't have anyone perform, which has kind of been his theme the last couple of weeks. So
Yeah, and when I look at this and I look at Will Fuller getting that suspension right now, that's really not good timing for Ben here. Ben's team, it's really been top heavy all year. He's been pretty healthy. He's been overall been able to stave off most damaging injuries, but he's going to have to start playing, Valdez Scantling and Amendola on a regular basis. Nick, is that you're shaking your head? I assume you're on my team here. That's not a recipe for success.
No, that isn't at all. Yeah, Will Fuller just going off for him. The thing with this game, too, 110, he didn't go off, but he had a very solid game with Will Fuller having 32. It's just John blew.
Yeah.
It's it's not going to happen with me next week. He'll go off for some reason, like Zach Moss had 2 touchdowns or something stupid like that.
Yeah.
But Clyde only having 4 points. I mean, Tyreek Hill took literally every touchdown. That dude went off last week, so.
Yeah,
I gotta say, Nick, I'm rooting against you this upcoming week because I know I'm gonna beat Cooley because Alex D. Bitch is just he's gonna lose. So I really need John to beat you also so that I can retain my high draft pick status. So.
Come on.
So I'm gonna root against you a little bit, but I don't know if nobody else has got anything in this one, we'll move on to Coach Bitch Cooley and Grizzly Adams against Lick McCaff and Medak and Jordan Chartier. Coach Bitch was the 13-point favorite in this one. Did not quite cover the 95-87 victory. So Jeff got this one right. Jeff was the only one to get this one right. Jeff, things fall kind of how you thought they would.
Yeah, I mean, I really looked at this game pretty closely, and I thought Jordan was going to keep it close. That 13-point margin that Cooley had. I don't really like Cooley's team. I don't like his lineup, and with Jordan having Jones, and I thought that Claypool was going to have a little bit better of a game. I thought with Bridgewater coming back, he might keep it close and keep it competitive. So picking Cooley to not cover and Jordan to keep it close like that was kind of how I was leaning, and it went really to plan. So,
yeah, honestly, if you would have told me going into this game that Robert Tonyan was going to outscore Travis Kelce, I would have just said, okay, Jordan wins that game 100 times out of 100. Like, there's just no way. I think we said this a couple times. How is Cooley's best player his kicker? Like, this is unbelievable.
It always happens.
Youngwei Koo is just like he is single-handedly. Cooley should probably rename his team just like Youngwei Bitch or something. I don't know, but Nick, I know I was rooting for Claypool to get a touchdown late in that game. Was there anything you saw in this one that maybe Jordan could have done differently or somewhere Cooley got lucky?
Not really, but I do think Cooley continues to get lucky there. We talked about Koo just going off. It's a battle of 2 pretty subpar teams, even though Cooley's 7-5. And like we talked about continuously on this podcast, you look at Cooley's team and nothing stands out besides Kelce and Koo, I guess. But he's in the first place in his division.
No love for Cooley.
Well,
is he another enemy of the podcast?
Yeah, Alexander Bitch is, in fact, an enemy of the podcast.
That is a fact.
The one thing I'll say for Jordan's team is Gabe Davis is a guy that I kind of liked. With John Brown going on IR now, he kind of stepped up in that offense, and for him to get 15 points is a modest day, but a good day, and especially for Jordan's team, that's a receiver coming through that he just hasn't been able to have. So curious if he turns it over to him a little bit, maybe this upcoming week and into the toilet bowl.
Is Gaskins coming back this week too?
It sounds like it. It sounds like Gaskins going to get activated. Breida's on IR. Salvin Ahmed is out. So DeAndre Washington is out. They have no running backs if they don't bring Gaskin back.
So that could be a sneaky play for Jordan to get some points there, because he was playing them earlier in the year and he was performing pretty well before the injury. So
yep, absolutely. And he should have McCaffrey back for the playoffs, you would think, for those last 2 weeks after his bye. But honestly, he's probably got a pretty good chance of getting out of that toilet bowl unscathed and working his way out in one of those 2 games that he's going to play. So. I'm not.
Which is kind of crazy that we think that he's going to do well with them sitting at 1-11 right now.
Yeah, it's honestly it's one of those situations where if just looking at his team, I would have guessed that he was able to pick up 3 wins on the season or somewhere at least, even with the injuries. But just not how it falls sometimes. Sometimes, bitch Cooley happens to beat you when he shouldn't. So, we'll hop on to the next one. The Southwestern Bandicoots and Coach Stankowski against St. Ticklers and Coach Nick Stoll. So Stank was a 10-point favorite in this one. We all picked Nick to cover, and Nick did in fact cover despite not being able to pull out the win. So Stank won 113 to 110. Nick, I'll let you defend yourself here. It was close. Was there a lineup move that ended up biting you?
Looking here, I mean, that lineup move in general, really, like I said before, going into this game, I needed my top half to really perform. I've been kind of top heavy. I mean, Gibson came through for me, but Kamara and Wilson getting a combined, 21, 22 points. I'm not going to win very many games like that. Having to rely on like Pittman and Shepard, it's not going to do it for me.
Yeah.
So that being said, it's tough, especially when he started Hinton, the substitute quarterback, at -2 points, and he still beats me.
That's embarrassing.
It honestly blew my mind looking at his lineup. I saw he picked up Hinton, and I was like, okay, like maybe, it's not absurd to take the shot on him, right? Like, there's a chance that he, runs some wildcat and gets some good rushing yards or something like that. The thing that blows my mind is if you decide to take that shot and you're like, I'm gonna go with Hinton, why would you play Lindsey too? Like, there's no way that offense was gonna put up multiple good fantasy performances against a great New Orleans defense. Like, I can at least understand wanting to take the shot, but why would you take 2 shots? Like, that one just got me. Luckily it worked out for him. Jeff, is there anything else you're seeing in this one?
Yeah, you touched on him, Mike. I got to be honest. I put a pretty big bid in for Hinton, and if I would have won it, I would have played him. So I can't fault Stank too much for that, but I'm in a different spot. I'm going against Tony. He's going against Nick here where he needed a win. I'm just kind of trying to play spoiler. So, but, James Robinson had a good week for him. Deshaun Watson, kind of 2 of his studs. Devontae Adams didn't perform as well as he has been. He's still got 15.1 points, but Nick, you mentioned it. Wilson and Kamara didn't get you what you normally get out of them, and you're not going to win very many.
Taysom Hill, man.
So no surprises here. We all thought it was going to be a pretty close one, and Stank didn't cover that. So
yep, absolutely. So we'll move on to our is this our last? No, our second to last matchup here, and this is going to be a busy one. This is not a pretty one. So Coach myself and the Exalted Archduke Fish taking the loss to the Mud Dogs of SC LSU and Coach Troy Hecht. So Troy was a 5-point favorite in this one. Jeff was the only one that picked Troy to cover the 5-point spread. And Troy apparently got mad at you and me, Nick. Took it out on me, 144 to 70. I don't know which one of you guys wants to start. I know we got a lot of segments associated with this one, so I'll let you guys fight over who wants it.
What do you want, Jeff?
I'll kick it off here. Yeah, I'll kick it off. Man, this
Jeff's worst coach of the week.
I'm just gonna give it to you right off the bat.
Yep. I was waiting for it. You are definitely the worst coach of the week. I mean, your team did not perform at all, and losing that big. I mean, I thought Troy was gonna beat you. That's why I picked him to cover, but I did not see this big of a spread coming that way. And I mean, Zeke, I picked him on my guarantee. We mentioned that a little bit ago. He did not perform.
Nick, you got anything to say about Zeke?
Hit it.
Nick's bum of the week.
Spare any change, sir? No, off.
Yeah,
I think that kind of couples why you're the worst coach of the week, Mike.
Right.
Highlighting him. So
yeah, the bum of the week himself. Zeke just putting up 2.4 is brutal. I mean, Washington defense is good, but holy shit, they got blown out. Yeah. Zeke has not looked good and been disappointing all year. So
yeah, that ever since Dak got hurt, that whole offense, that running game has not been the same. And I'm honestly, when I found out your bum of the week was coming from my game, I wasn't really sure who it was going to be. Jonnu had 0 targets and 0 catches. Cam Newton was the best of my 3 quarterbacks with under 4 points.
Which is ridiculous.
I made the best choice I could have there, and it was 4 points. So I think a lot of things attributed to this loss. But Nick, I do know that you have one more thing to pile on, so I'm just going to hit it right now for you.
Nick's off the field impact.
Although I will say, for the record, you're a pretty fun drunk.
So yeah, I mean, you're looking at this, you have a lot of, I don't know what other decisions you could have made, but I'm thinking the impact of off of field of Mike moving and Mike getting his new job. Maybe he didn't spend enough time on his team. He was busy doing other stuff. So I'm giving you a little bit of an excuse here, Mike, but still, it was a massacre.
Clearly my team needed a pep talk or 6.
Something wasn't right, because that was just a bad performance, and really we haven't really touched much on Troy's team at all in this. And yeah, some guys that went off with Henry and Mahomes, and the sneaky play of James White coming through and getting 2 touchdowns. I mean,
yeah, that's the thing we can't overshadow too much. Is obviously I played terrible, but I was the worst in the week? I was the worst point total of the week, and Troy's over there with the best. So didn't matter who I played, didn't matter who he played. This was going to be the result. So the rest of the league got lucky not to run into Troy on this train. All right, so we'll hop into our last one here. So we got I Am Left-Handed and Coach Kyle Monroe in the divisional matchup against Old Man Joe and Coach Joe Thomas. Kyle was a 27-point favorite in this one. All of us thought that was a bit harsh, but it was close. 21-point win, 124 to 103. All of us ended up getting this one right. Nick, what are you seeing in this one? Was this kind of how you thought it was playing out?
Oh, I was not expecting Hill to have 51 points. That was absurd. I thought, Kyler Murray and Hopkins not going off, 16 combined. You'd think that Kyle would be hurting in that situation, but shoot, he almost covered because Hill just took over that game. That was crazy. That might be one of the highest fantasy games by any player in recent memory, at least.
I think that's the highest of the year for sure. You hit it right on the head. He had 2 players that dug him out of what was a hole, because the rest of his team was not good. Jeff, what about Joe's side of the ball? What are you seeing from him? Your rival this upcoming week. Any props to give?
Yeah, the A.J. Brown touchdown was pretty impressive, and even scoring on a kickoff. Not that it got him any points, I don't think, but that guy is just a beast. And Keenan Allen had another solid performance. Samuel coming back on the 49ers. I'm not looking forward to that matchup. He played Goff. He had a down week. Sanders had a down week. Ronald Jones this week, I believe, is on bye, so a little bit of hope for me there. But as you mentioned, Joe's my rival. I think Joe, on any given week, if he probably pulls this one out the way Kyle's team performed, if Tyreek Hill doesn't just have a beast of a performance. So kind of sucks for Joe, but at the same time, he only put up 103, and you got to score more points than that to beat Kyle's team. So
yeah, and honestly, I haven't talked to Joe, but I have to imagine he was at least a little conflicted. Goff going against San Francisco and Kirk Cousins with a little bit better matchup, but a run first team. So I'm sure that always seems to deter people from taking Kirk. But Kirk's had 3 good games in a row. If Kirk's in there, he wins that game. So it was that tight that one decision that, like I said, it wasn't. It's kind of a toss-up. Goff has been up and down this year. Kirk's been up and down his career. So, it was a tight one. What was that?
And then with Thielen out too, maybe you thought they were just going to run the ball way more as well. So,
which is what I thought.
Yeah,
but yeah.
Cook and Jefferson were probably the only 2 I would have played on that Vikings team going into that week. The other thing too is I highlighted Chase Edmonds last week, and Kyle for even though how stubborn he is, he listened, and it actually paid off for once. So thanks for listening, Kyle, for playing Edmonds over Harris. So
paid off. With
didn't help you to cover, but it was a little bit better.
Paid
than
off
you
with
would have had.
6.3 points instead of 4.7. Way to save the day, Jeff.
You take wins when you can get them.
That's why I said coach of the week.
So with those out of the way, Jeff picked up an extra game here. Nick fell behind an extra game here. So our current standings are Jeff at 19-5, me at 17-7, and Nick at 15-9. So yeah, it's the race is falling out of Nick's grasp here. I don't know if I'm even hanging on at this point. 2 games back is a lot with one more regular season, but this will continue into the playoffs. So we'll see if anyone can gain a little bit of ground on Jeff. So
Really unlikely, but you can try, boys.
Well, we'll see what happens.
I'm out of it, dude.
So with that, we'll hop into a quick filler segment.
Ask me the questions, Bridgekeeper. I'm not afraid.
This here's Mike's. Will it happen?
All right,
Nick,
Mike.
before you go on this one, make sure that you know that Mike can put a push as an answer on here. So phrase your question correctly.
Ask me better questions, Jeff.
Oh my gosh. All right. So will a division winner win the league championship?
It will happen.
That was Mike's. Will it happen?
All right. With that out of the way, let's hop on into next week.
Dive on into the Husky League matchups.
All right, Husky League matchup time, and a big one too. Rivalry week coming on. We'll touch on all of what's really at stake in all these games as we're talking about them. But to start with, we got the Taint Ticklers and Coach Nick Stoll against Ball is Life and Coach John Lamers. Nick, the 3-point favorite in this one. That's going to be a theme you're going to see here. Is all these lines are they're all really tight. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see how some of these games play out. Nick, only a 3-point favorite ahead of this. Jeff, when you're looking at this matchup, is that accurate? It feels like Nick's team's been doing well at the start and kind of down, but John's been so bad. Do you really think it's going to be that close?
I don't think it'll be that close. I got Nick covering this line, and I think he's going to blow John out, to be honest with you. I think Gibson is going to continue to keep playing well. I think Kamara is going to perform better, Wilson for Nick. And John's team it's run out of juice. He's not gonna keep up with you, Nick, which bodes well for you because I think if you win, you're in or something like that. So I know you're kind of really hoping to get in there with the win this week. So
yeah, and I know Jeff, maybe there's a player on Nick's team that's gonna push him to victory. So I'll give you that.
Jeff's keep on cooking.
Who wants some man meat? I do. I want some man meat.
And just so everyone's aware, this week's Jeff's Keep On Cooking is brought to you by Jay's Tobacco Outlet, located in Escanaba and all over the UP. Jay's Tobacco Outlet.
Come on in, we'll treat you like kin.
thanks, Jays, for that great sponsor of Jeff's Keep On Cooking. Couldn't do it without my local Upers up there, so I appreciate that. And Nick, you'll actually like this pick too because I just keep on cooking this week is Antonio Gibson. He has a tough matchup against the Steelers, but I still think he finds a way to get in there for over 20 points. You look at him last week against Dallas, he was running all over those guys, and 3 touchdowns was pretty impressive. I think if he had not, he's taken over that lead back role, and they should rely heavily on him. So,
yeah, Nick, what are you thinking about this matchup? Who you taking as far as that 3-point line?
I'm saying I'm going to cover that. I need a win, and 3 points ain't much. I think I can beat John. His team, like we've been saying, is not great. Doesn't look great. But this week, I am a little bit concerned. I mean, Godwin on bye, so I'm starting Chark in there. He looks like he's playing this week, so that's good. But, yeah, Gibson with a tough matchup. Now that you have him as his Jeff Keeps Cooking, maybe I got to trust he's going to go over 20, so I'm not too concerned anymore. David Johnson coming back this week. I don't know if he's going to be utilized fully or if Duke's going to still take some carries. So I'm a little nervous, and then always Taysom Hill taking away Kamara's touchdowns. At least I get the benefit of when Metcalf scores, I'll get some points for Wilson. So
yeah, hopefully they'll even out a little bit there.
Yeah, and I will say, I think, Nick, I also have you covering this one. When I look at the individual players and really why the line is there, Clyde's projected at 11 points. He's just not been that good. I think that's more of they're projecting 11 points because he's the name and he's the lead back and he's got to get it right, but he's just not been good. He's not been getting there. I look at another guy in Jerry Jeudy projected at 10 points and he's not been super great. He's had a couple of outings, but really on a game-to-game basis, I don't know that you're counting on him to get that 10. So really when I look at it, I say, and the same thing on the other side, Antonio Gibson has Pittsburgh this week. That's a tough matchup, but he's been getting in the end zone. They've been relying on him. They don't have much of a passing game outside of Terry McLaurin. So I just feel like when I look at some of these numbers, it feels like it's going to shift even more in that other direction. I don't see John getting all the way to 96 points this week. So I got you covering this one, Nick. And for everyone's reference, Nick, you wanna re-up everybody on what this bet is and what's really at stake here?
Yeah. So me and John's bet here is John's going to stop sending me pictures of Jay Woody. It's a constant theme over the last, 5 years. It's been ridiculous. And then if I lose and John wins, then I have to comment on 5 Instagram posts of his choosing, and he gets to pick what I say. So Jay Woody is probably coming on those comments if I lose. So also the loser pays for beer when we hang out next.
Yep. So it's the first of our rivalry week bets to go over. We'll hop into our next one and a fun rivalry week bet here. So we got the Southwestern Bandicoots and Coach Stankowski against Benny and the Jets and Coach Stelzer. Stank is a 2-point favorite in this one, and the loser of this game has to do a Jaeger bomb, go jump in the snow, or get spanked on the bare ass by their significant other, and then take another Jaeger bomb with a video being sent out to the league. So I know we're all looking forward to seeing that. When you look at this game, a two-point line is pretty tight. Jeff, who do you think ends up with that ass spanking?
Oh, this one is tight. I think Stank will cover this one. So I think if I remember correctly, that would be Benny having to get the ass spanking. So
yes, that is the other person in the game.
I look at Benny's team right here, and there's a guy on his bench that I'm wondering with the news today about Josh Jacobs being out, if he's going to slide Booker up into his lineup, and if that's going to kind of change the line. I would think it would. I still have Stank covering this. I think James Robinson and Watson, just like last week, and Adams are going to continue to go off, and you got Thielen coming back. So I think, this one's tough for me because Benny's team has been so dominant, and Stank is kind of in the same situation, Nick, where you are. He's got to get a win here. So I'm rolling with Stank.
Yeah, and I'd have to actually, I think I'm going to go the other way with this one. I think this is actually going to turn into Mike's
against the experts pick. Are you going to listen to a big dummy, or are you going to listen to me?
Yeah, so I look at Stank's team, and similar to what I brought up last time, I see some of these projections as maybe a product of a name. Melvin Gordon against Kansas City, he's just not been that great lately, and I think once you're playing Kansas City, you're down and you're having to pass a lot. So I don't know if Melvin Gordon does much in this game. T.J. Hawkinson going against Chicago, we all know that that's a great defense. That he's going to have a tough time performing. So I see some questions. So I'm going to have to go in and take Ben in this one. I think Dalvin Cook's got a great matchup. Aaron Rodgers has a good matchup. Kareem Hunt has a really good matchup against Tennessee there. So I'm going to take Ben in this one. Nick, where do you fall?
I'm going to take Stank in this one. Deshaun Watson put up 33 against Indy last time they played. And it looks like Indy's defense was kind of exposed last week because it might have been a product. Their high ranking might have been a product of not playing many people. So I think Deshaun Watson gets another 30 bomb here. And then you look at Aaron.
Even without Will Fuller.
That's true. I still think he will. And then you keep looking through here, Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, kind of like we had in the previous matchup with DK and Russ. Uh, Kyle's going to get those points from Aaron Rodgers that kind of cancel out a little bit. Yeah, I'm picking Stank. Sadly, I want him to lose, but I'm taking him to cover that.
Sounds good. Sounds good. We'll jump into our next matchup here. I know we got a lot to get through yet on the show, so this next matchup is Jay's Juggernauts and Coach Jeff Gregory taking on Old Man Joe and Coach Joe Thomas. Joe being the 6-point favorite in this one. Nick, when you're looking at these two rosters, you think that holds up?
Yeah, I'm taking Joe to cover that 6 points. Like we keep saying about Joe's, he's a solid team. Looking at the matchup, you got Keenan Allen, obviously. I mean, Ayuk is in there with Debo coming back. Debo had a great game last week. So A.J. Brown continues to be a stud. Cousins has been playing well. We touched on that earlier. So I'm taking Old Man Joe in this one to cover that spread of 6 points.
Jeff, I'll let you take the next crack at it, and also maybe tell us about this bet.
Yeah, I'll start with the bet. So between Joe and I, we came up with the winner gets to pick a jersey from their starting lineup, and the loser has to pay for that jersey. And if we're able to do a rookie draft in person, however that looks, the winner can kind of showboat wearing that jersey on one of those occurrences. So I'm already kind of dialing in what jersey I want to see this week. So fortunately, Jacobs is out. He was one of those guys that I was looking to get a nice Raiders jersey. So I have in this pick, I have Joe will not cover this. I got to bet on myself. I actually think I'm gonna win this one against Joe, even though his guys, and I would admit his team looks pretty scary right now, and he's got some good matchups. But for some reason, I think the Juggernauts are gonna pull this out and cover the spread here. So
hey, if you can't believe in yourself, who can you believe in?
Exactly.
I think that 6 points is way too low of a spread for this game. I think you're going to get absolutely demolished in this one.
Oh my gosh!
Look at these matchups. Like Matt Ryan versus New Orleans, bad matchup. Kirk Cousins versus Jacksonville, good matchup. Okay, let's go to running backs. Miles Sanders against Green Bay, great matchup. David Montgomery against Detroit, great matchup. Well, what has Jeff got? Gio Bernard against Miami, not a good matchup, plus a bad running back. Kenyon Drake against the Rams, bad matchup. Okay, well, what about wide receivers? Calvin Ridley against New Orleans, bad matchup. A.J. Brown against Cleveland, good matchup. Keenan Allen against New England, maybe a middle to bad matchup. Terry McLaurin against Pittsburgh, bad matchup. Amari Cooper against Baltimore, bad matchup. Brandon Ayuk against Buffalo, good matchup. Like there's not.
I can't wait till you guys are both wrong on this. That'll just make that so much sweeter.
Mike's talking some mad shit.
I
looked at this.
He's going in on me.
I try to be objective on all my picks, but I looked at this one and I just it blows my mind that you can even pick yourself in this. So I am taking Joe to cover, if that was not clear.
Oh, really?
I didn't quite get that one. Can you repeat yourself, Mike? Which one are you picking? Because I just want to make it clear to our audience once we talk about this next week how wrong you were.
Oh my gosh.
Jeff,
we can come back to this a little bit.
Do you want to make a little bet on this one? If Nick will allow it, do you want to double up these? So if I win, I get 2 wins. If you win, you get 2 wins.
I don't know if I want to do this.
Because I'm
Can I get 2 wins?
2 games ahead of you.
So if me and Nick are right, do we get 2 wins? Are you confident in yourself?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right.
You gotta bet on yourself.
We'll mark it down.
It's not the right move with me having a 2-game win over you, Mike, and 4 over Nick. So it brings you both back into the realm of having chance.
Not if you win.
You gotta win. You gotta take the risk here. So.
I love it. I just bought myself a free win, so that's always good. So
or
we'll
I
jump
just
into our
took
next.
this and skyrocketed in the first place, and
I kind of
there's no coming back.
I kind of hope you win now, but we'll jump into our next matchup. So we got the Aaron Rodgers football team and Coach Tony Fisher taking on I Am Left-Handed and Coach Kyle Monroe. So Kyle's a 9-point favorite in this one, and the bet is that the winner gets to blackout paid for by the loser, limit of $100 on that. We're going to do something interesting for this one, though. Instead of listening to us talk about it, why not listen to the coaches themselves? So I was able to sit down with Coach Tony Fisher yesterday for this one. So we'll cut on over to that and let you guys listen to him. All right, welcome into the first Radishcast interview of the year. So we're here with Coach Tony Fisher of the Aaron Rodgers football team. Going to get a little insight into his matchup. So Tony, I know this week's matchup is between you and Monroe, and it's a big one. It's for the division. If you win, you get the number 1 seed. How you feeling going into it?
It's not going to be an easy battle, that's for sure. Kyle's got one of the best teams in the league, if not the, and I'm going to need a little bit of luck to pull this one out, combined with they've got some roster decisions to make. But, I think it's going to be a tight one. He's obviously got a ton of talent in his team. And one of the big things he has going for him is his boom factor. So, you look at some of the names on his roster, and there aren't a ton of people on this list that can't put up a ton of points week over week. So we'll see if we can stave that off, see if we can get a couple big games from guys on our roster as well, and see where we end up.
Absolutely. If there's one player on your team that you're looking at that has to have a good game, is there anybody you're looking at that say, man, if this guy does it, I should have this in the bag? Who would that be?
It's a little tough to say. Like I said, I got a couple of decisions to make. I'm waiting on a clarity on a couple of guys, but I think one of the key guys in my roster as it is now is Justin Jefferson. He's one of the big boomer bust guys on my roster, and as you probably saw in some of the league feed this week, I have a high success rate when he has good games. So, he's one of the critical components to this, where he has a bad week, it's pretty detrimental to the total output, obviously, but, he has the ability to pull this performance together. So I think I'm looking to him for a big week.
Yeah, absolutely. And honestly, when I'm looking at your receiver core, the name of the game is keep pace. Kyle's, that's where Kyle's the strongest by far. Your running back room, now that they're getting healthy, is looking to be a little bit stronger than his. And then you both got just monster quarterbacks. So yeah, I'd agree with that. I think, part of this is going to come down to if Julio Jones is healthy and who Kyle's sliding in there. If he's not, Trey Boo Boo. If Trey Burton has a week that where he's the tight end that the Colts choose, then that's something that is going to be good for you. But the Colts are just so hit and miss with all those guys that you never really know what to expect.
Yeah, they absolutely have that three tight end rotation where you're just not really sure week to week. There's been no real precedent set. Trey Burton's had some decent performances, but they're all touchdown dependent. There's definitely no consistency there. I agree with you completely.
For sure. And some of them are rushing touchdowns even. I know he runs the Wildcat for him sometimes in the goal line. It looks like they've kind of shifted to Jacoby Brissett in that role lately, but definitely always a possibility. So jumping to the other side of the ball, is there anybody on Kyle's team that you look at and you say, man, if this guy goes off, he's just going to bury me this week?
You touched on it already. He's got the wide receiver dream team, right? So, you look at Tyler Lockett, you've got DeAndre Hopkins, Tyreek Hill. All of those guys can drop just a ton of points week over week. The matchup, it doesn't depend on who they're playing, right? You see Tyler Lockett torch good teams constantly. A couple of those guys really are. They can have some pretty modest output. You see that from Lockett every now and then, but again, I don't know if I can even pick one. Tyreek, obviously, very recently, fresh in everybody's minds, just dropped 1 billion points, right? How do you overcome that? So
for sure.
I don't know if I can even pick one that I'm most scared of at this point. So it's a fierce lineup, that's for sure.
Yeah, and honestly, looking at his lineup, Hopkins going against the Rams is going to be, you've at least got that going for you. He's going to draw that Jalen Ramsey coverage. That's something that Kyler Murray's got to deal with as well. The Rams being a really, really good defense. So, I look to Tyreek Hill, like you mentioned, and then Tyler Lockett obviously can do it any given week. He's shown that 2 or 3 games this year, but he's really disappointed in the other games. So, it'll be an interesting spot to match up how some of those positions line up. So, I wanted to give you a chance to get in on some of the Radishcast fun here. So, We have basically a couple of segments for each of the league members for whenever they get a chance to come on the show. So since you're one of the first to get to come on the show, we're going to jump into your segment.
Tony's Investment Insights.
Three or four times, maybe. I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
All right, so Tony's Investment Insights. This is Tony giving us a little breakdown of somebody who is invested in, whether it be trade, waivers, however it might be, and how that maybe worked out, and if that player is going to pay big dividends down the line here. So, Tony, I'll let you take it away.
Sure, I appreciate that. And just backing up, appreciate you guys having me on the cast. Great to be part of it. But it's tough to pick one transaction, one player, one team, one GM that really made a real power play. There's been a lot of good transactions, especially towards the end of the season. You saw a ton of trades come through. There's a lot of bodies moving around the league. As much as it pains me to say it, and I can't preface this enough with how much I hate Kyle Monroe, that guy's the worst. I think he might have made the strongest investment in his team. And, it comes back around to everybody's got different goals, different envisions for their team. Kyle set a goal for his team this season. He knows what he's shooting for. He knows what he's looking at in the next handful of years here. I think he's made a really strong investment. It's obviously terrible for me with the way my playoff picture looks here. I've got a grind of a matchup against him here, and regardless of what happens, playoffs, he's going to have a monster team. So, again, not easy because I still think Kyle's one of the dumbest people in this league. And I think he's gotten there with a little bit of luck and a little bit of good wishes from, the other members of the league. But, he's made a ton of good decisions, and he's got a powerhouse of a roster. So we'll see if I can't pull one out this week as, in spite of that. But, I think he's made the strongest investment so far this season.
Okay. All right. So Monroe getting the nod on Tony's first investment insight. So just one last thing as we look to wrap up here. I just want you to look into the camera, and if you could say one thing to Kyle Monroe ahead of this matchup, what would it be?
Probably 2 knuckles if Julio doesn't play, maybe 1 if he does play. So I'm pretty confident going into this week.
All right. Sounds good. Well, we appreciate you coming on. Appreciate you giving some of your insights on everything to do with this matchup, and looking forward to see how it shakes out.
Appreciate you having me. Take care.
Yep. Have a great one. Bye. Nice hearing from Tony, but we're actually not done quite yet. I got Coach Kyle Monroe on the line next, so let's jump over to an interview with him. All right, so we're here with Coach Kyle Monroe from Team I Am Left-Handed to talk a little bit about his important game this week. So, I know you got your game coming up here against the Aaron Rodgers football team. Winner takes the division, and maybe even bigger, you have the tiebreaker over Ben. So if you win, that means number 1 seed for the playoffs. How do you feel going into it? How confident are you?
I'd like to say I'm really confident just because I know Tony's a poor GM and will find some way to mess this up. Looking at his roster, he's starting to get his guys healthy, and he's actually going to have to make some decisions that'll impact his game versus just plug and play his guys. He's been about the luckiest team in this dang league so far. Dude's got the 4th least points in the league, and deciding to somehow be 9-3, that doesn't quite make sense to just about anyone. But we'll let it slide. He got the better of me round 1. It was quite a shame, but I would like to be more confident, but I really don't like this Rams matchup that the Cardinals have, and having Kyler and Hopkins, and Kyler being just that little bit banged up, where last week he had the shoulder, and it showed that he wasn't throwing the ball nearly as well, and he wasn't running as confidently because he was scared to take any hits. So I really need that matchup to be a bang for me. Otherwise, I do not like my odds.
Yeah, and that kind of even leads me into my next question. If there's one player on your team that you can look at and say, if he has a good game, if he goes off, I got this in the bag. Is there one player you look at your team? Is it those guys, or is it maybe a little further down the line, like you're looking to get some production from Damian Harris, or making sure you got a good game out of Darren Waller? Who's the one guy that you say is got to do it?
I'm saying Hopkins, just because I think he's got that Ramsey matchup, and if he's doing well, then Kyler's probably doing well as well. So it's kind of like getting a little bang for your buck, whereas, Kyler could run for 4 touchdowns, but Hopkins does nothing. So it's not quite that kind of double duty action. So
Yep,
I'd say
absolutely.
Hopkins.
Yeah, absolutely. So on the other side of the ball, when you're looking at Tony's team, is there one player for him that you're saying, oh man, this guy could bury me if he just really puts it on, if he goes off, it could really put you in a hole. Is there anybody you're seeing on his side of the ball like that?
The one I'm nervous about is Eckler. They give him the ball so much. I think last week he had like 11 receptions or something. So I'm not overly worried on the ground, but I'm just worried that it's another receiver in half PPR that gets more targets than, majority of people on his team. Because I was looking at it, he's got 3 guys that have some injury report action right now, but unless all 3 go down, he still has 2 to 3 good replacements on the bench. So can't really say, if my deciding factor will be if Chris Carson doesn't play, because he'll just plug in Mostert. But, I don't think that I should be too concerned when the man's playing Trey Burton. So it's not like his team's actually that good.
Yeah, for sure. I know on last week's Radishcast, I don't know how regular of a listener you are, but on last week's Radishcast, we gave it to you and Tony a little bit, talking about how lackluster your bet is. I actually had a chance to catch up with Tony. He said that his office reached out to you about enhancing the bet in some way. Is there any truth to that, or is he just
that's blowing right out the butt. That's blowing right out the butt.
Any of those anything take place as far as that? And any thoughts on enhancing that bet or adding to it, or are you guys going to roll with what you got?
So, the big thing was we initially thought that the deadline was before the season. So I don't want to make excuses for us, but that is why we were like the second team to have it in. So we threw that in as quick as we could without knowing that, you could edit throughout. There is zero truth to Tony saying that. I'm looking at our text right now, and there's nothing other than me trying to shit talk him after week 2 and say we're going to start out 3-0 and then losing to him. But other than that, I had some stuff kind of planned for a little smack talk video this week. We might have to switch it to an article just with lack of ability to kind of get out in this COVID world that we have going. So, I'm definitely open to an enhancement. We got till Sunday, so this is my formal offer of if he really wants to claim he offered to enhance, I'm all here for it.
Yeah, that's that'll be interesting to see. Interesting to catch up over the next week. The nice part about this league is this rivalry isn't going anywhere. It's going to be year over year, so you guys can always amp it up next year if you don't get to it now. So with that, I'd like to take a little step back. So all of our league members have their own individual segments for the show, whether they know it or not yet. So let's take a look at Kyle's individual segment for the Radishcast show.
Monroe's bland food choice.
It's a simple question. Is there or is there not anything edible on this menu?
Hope we got some Emperor's New Groove fans in the audience today with that drop here. But so Monroe's bland food choice. So Kyle Monroe, as we all know, doesn't eat much outside of cheese pizza and mac and cheese. So this is really his take on something that maybe a player or a manager that's really not so flashy. They're pretty bland, but maybe steady and getting it done anyway. So Kyle, I'll let you take it over.
I'm going with a player. I don't think that we have enough bland teams in this league. I think that there's a couple lucky teams, but nothing necessarily that caught my eye right away as someone who's just a very consistent winner with an ugly team. I'm going with Stephon Diggs for my bland player. While he's been very good, he's gotten 2 games this entire season over 20 points and then 2 games in single digits. The man's as consistent as it comes. If you're looking at his numbers, his average points per game is 14.4 fantasy points. His median game's 14.6. So you know that there's whatever's right below is right above. So, I'm upset I traded this man. I didn't think his target share was going to continue after week 3 when I got rid of him. but he's just been as consistent as can be for Benny's team. And yeah, he's my bland guy for this season so far.
Yeah, and honestly, we look at the other side of that trade, and you got a kind of banged up older Julio Jones out of it. So, yeah, maybe kicking yourself a little bit, maybe giving up on those bland foods a little too early. But yeah, no, that's good. It's a good choice, an interesting choice, especially given he used to be your guy. But with that, let's I'll just jump on to one final thought here, and then we'll let you go. But if you had Tony standing in front of you right now, I want you to just look in the camera and just give me one thing you'd say to him, the final words, face to face before we go into this matchup.
Have to give him Tony sucks eggs and just get on with my day.
Okay, we got another egg sucker in the league. I was not aware, but that's good to know. And so
also, can I bring up one point here real quick?
Feel free.
So I was doing some studying of these absolute guarantees after I realized Jeff was so helplessly wrong this week. And, Nick likes to think that, it's so funny that Jeff made a bad prediction when his only correct guarantee for the season was Tony scoring more than 70 points, which that is,
a guarantee.
Yeah, exactly. That's just Nick being a coward. I wasn't happy that two of the guarantees were both negative towards me from you, and I think they were both from you.
I do have my outstanding guarantee of Tony winning the division.
Tony beat and you had Ben outscoring me week 10.
Yep. So it's
So haven't been a fan of that aspect of the Radishcast being attacked a little bit, but we're just looking here to prove some of the people wrong and show our doubters that we're ready to build for a championship this year.
When you fly high, the haters come in flocks. So you can take some solace in that.
Exactly. The guys like Jeff, Jordan, Nick, they don't really have to worry about that. So
that is the truth. Well, we appreciate having you on. Hope the whole league enjoys a different perspective other than the regular hosts, and yeah, looking forward to see how this great matchup turns out.
No, thanks for having me on the cast. Been a loyal listener, so happy to finally be on.
Sounds good. Well, I'll talk to you later.
All right, sounds good.
Bye now. So nice hearing from those guys. Kind of interesting to get some new perspectives, some new drops on the show for each of the individual coaches. Either you got any retaliation from anything you heard?
You can start her off, Nick.
Yeah, I mean, Kyle taking shots at me as being a host, that was a kind of a dick move, but I mean, semi-warranted. I'm in last place in the picks, but my absolute guarantees, I still got two outstanding that I have faith in. Maybe not Mike finishing with more points than Khalid to be close when he's down 19. But Jeff might finish with a better record than John. I'm still holding it to it. I'm going to beat John this week.
Jeff,
that'll help out. No, I think it was awesome getting those guys on the cast. Both of them did a phenomenal job, and really appreciate them taking the time to join us and the group here. So thanks, guys. Kyle, you had some funny one-liners in there, so proud of you, bud. Taking shots at B, Jordan, and Nick at the end there. I was kind of expecting something, and you waited till the very end. So it was good. I liked both those videos. It was a lot of fun.
So with this, let's just run around real quick. We don't need to talk too much about the nuts and bolts of the matchup since we heard it from those guys. But Jeff, who you taking? Kyle beat the 9-point favorite here.
I'm going to actually do something else here on this. I'm going to label this one our game of the week. So we did this a few weeks back, and it turned out to have quite a bit of audience tuned into this one, and I think a lot of people will be looking at this one. So with that being said, I'm going to say Kyle will not cover this 9-point spread, and I think it's going to be within a 2 or 3 point game. So
okay,
we'll see.
I'll have to develop a drop for game of the week at some point. Let's see, do I have anything here? I'll just do this.
Shut up, baby, I know it.
There it is. That's what we get to know. So I this was tough. With the 9-point line, I'd agree with you that I think this is going to be a really close game. So I'm actually going to bet Tony here too. I really hope you're going the other way, Nick, so that this isn't so one-sided. But I'll lead it over to you.
Yeah, I'm not going the other way. I also have Kyle doesn't cover that. I think it's going to be a close game. Kyle might still win it, but yeah, 9 points. I think it'll be really close looking at these two lineups. So clean sweep.
All right. Well, with all that out of the way, we'll jump on to the next one. So we got the exalted Archduke Fish III and Coach Mike Fisher taking on Grizzly Bitch and Coach Bitch Cooley. So Coach Bitch is a 1-point favorite in this one. And I do know that our bet on this is the winner of this matchup gets to design a T-shirt of their choosing, and the loser buys them for the whole league. So everybody's going to get a nice T-shirt out of this one. Nice. Looking at this one, what do you guys think? Bitch is only a 1-point favorite. It's a really tight game, so it's almost a toss-up. Jeff, I'll throw it over to you first. Who you got in this one?
I got Cooley not covering this, so Mike, I need you to win this one here for draft pick implications. So if all goes to plan, you win this one. But we touched on Elliott earlier in the show not having a very good week last week, and hopefully he can bounce that around. Taylor, Dobbins, it looks like you got your rookie running backs you're throwing out there. So I think you got a good week ahead of you. And unfortunately, just looking at Cooley's team again, I just don't like his lineup, and I can't imagine and see how he wins as many games as he won, but somehow he keeps getting those wins, but it won't happen this week.
I don't see a situation. Yeah, that's maybe not true. This is a game where I'm going to be oddly staring at the kicker all game long.
At least.
Because like I said, if Younghoe Koo doesn't put up 25 points, I love my chances in this one. So I'm going to take myself to beat Coach Bitch Cooley. Troy, you are welcome. All you have to do is beat Jordan, and you will be given the division. I promise you that. I give that to you. So, Nick, I'll let you go over and maybe dive into something else in this game.
Yeah, hit it, Mike.
It is right there.
Nick's garbage time all-star.
I'm the trash man. I come out, I throw trash all over the ring, and then I start eating garbage.
So I have Locke as my garbage time all-star. I mean, I don't think he's going to have a good game by any stretch of the imagination, but he'll put up some points in garbage time. I have been wrong every single time I've done this, so hopefully this can break the streak here.
Should I start him, Nick?
No. Oh, God, no. So I am taking Cooley to cover this. Mike, you bit me one too many times to bet on you. It's basically looking at both of these lineups, I kind of like yours more. You have a couple tough matchups, but yeah, and Cooley starting Gore and Hines. It's disgusting. But I can't bet with you again, man. You did me dirty too many times.
You got to make up a few games too, so you got to start taking some risk here, and that's true. This is one of those.
Yeah, I think we can all agree that that Coach Bitch has probably got a harder time here, but I respect the pick here. I'm definitely confident in this one, but also not too confident just because of how lucky he's been getting. So moving on to our last one. So we got the SCLSU Mud Dogs and Coach Troy Heck taking on Lick McCaff and Medak and Coach Jordan Chartier. So Troy is the 13-point favorite in this one. The famous loser of this gets the tattoo on their butt. And honestly, if this was a more competitive game, we might see this one as the game of the week. But I think we're all expecting it to go one way. But is 13 points a big enough line, Nick?
Probably not. I'm saying Troy will cover that. Looking at both these teams, Mahomes and Derrick Henry coming off some huge weeks. I think they continue with both of those matchups, Cleveland and Denver. Yeah, Jordan, like we said last week, I think you should start shaving that ass, buddy.
Jeff, what about you?
Yeah, I got Troy covering this. I went with Jordan last week and it paid off, but there's no way that that he's going to keep up with Troy, especially after the performance that he had last week against you, Mike. I think Mahomes and Henry continues that hot streak, and if Robinson plays, which he should, he's got a pretty good matchup against Detroit. So I expect him to put up some big numbers. And just looking at Jordan's team, he's right now, I hope he changes it, but he's got Sam Darnold starting at his quarterback. And
the only person
unfortunately, I know I'm looking, unfortunately, that's all he has. So that's why I got Troy covering this. It's not going to be this close of a game.
Yeah, and man, I wanted to pick Troy going into this, but actually I think you know what, Jordan, I'm riding with you here. I'm riding with him to cover it, not necessarily win, but within 13 points. You know what? I'm calling it here. Sam Darnold monster game against Las Vegas.
What?
Is that your guarantee, Mike?
I guess we'll see next segment. So no, it's a big game. It's going to be fun, no matter even if it goes the way we all think it's going to go, just because of the bet that's associated with it. So I'm looking forward to it.
I'm curious what butt cheek Jordan is going to choose. Is he going to go the left or the right? You might as well start mapping out that spot where he's going to be putting it.
I'm curious to hear some of your thoughts on this, and this gives me a good opportunity for.
Mike's off the rails sidebar.
Mike's off the rails sidebar. So which butt cheek would you get tattooed if you had to get a butt cheek tattoo? I'm trying to think about this, and I'm like, is there really a benefit to either side? Like, when you're talking about arms and something, it's going to be one you're using more than the other, but your butt cheek, like, really kind of feels like it's not one you're going to see more, other people are going to see more. Nick, would you have an easy choice here, or would you just kind of, leave it to fate?
So I'm thinking about implications of right when you get the tattoo. So when you wipe your ass, it depends if you're left or right-handed, right? You don't want to be putting all that pressure on that tattoo when it's sore. If you're right-handed, I think you're gonna have to go with, what would that be? You would have to go with the left butt cheek.
You'd have to put it on your right, actually, because you're gonna lean onto your left, right?
No.
No, I lean the same side.
What?
Yeah. Well, whatever you do, Jordan.
You lean the same side that you wipe? Like,
yeah.
So you lean towards your right and then wipe with your right hand? Where do you put your hand? What?
I lean towards my right and wipe with my left hand. So you want to put it on the same side. Okay.
Oh, I thought you said right-handed. So I was like doing it in my head. Like, yeah, I lean to my left and wipe with my right.
Yeah, okay.
Where do you put your hand? I just go right.
I'm left-handed when I wipe my ass.
I just shove it right.
I pick up the balls and just
wipe towards my balls. Every once in a while, I get some on there, but that's okay.
Save for later, man.
All right, so that was Mike's off the rails sidebar. I've been sitting on that drop for quite a while, and we haven't had a chance to use it. So no, that's nice. That's nice to be able to get off the rails a little bit here. But with that, let's jump into our final segment of the day.
Shut up, baby, I know it. Shut up, baby, I know it. Absolute guarantee.
I'll start us off because you already heard it. Sam Darnold and Denzel Mims are going to connect on a touchdown this week. That combo, that stack that Jordan's got going is going to be enough to keep him in the game. So I'm calling the Denzel Mims touchdown from Sam Darnold.
Shut up, baby, I know it.
So Jeff, let's jump over to you first. What do you got for your absolute guarantee?
I tried this kind of the same mindset earlier a few weeks ago, but my absolute guarantee of the week is going back to the game of the week, actually, Tony and Kyle's matchup. And basically these are two powerhouses teams that are just going to perform and put up monster numbers. So I think we'll see the most combined points in this matchup coming from that game there. So that's my guarantee of the week.
Yeah, I still have an outstanding guarantee from a couple weeks ago that Tony's going to win that division. So we already know who I think is going to win that game. Nick, what about you? What's your guarantee this week?
My absolute guarantee this week is that Kyle's going to seal the first round bye and beat Tony this week. So we have a little bit conflicting here.
Shut up, baby, I know it.
Which is weird because as a threesome, we are right about everything. I don't think we've been wrong about anything all year. So curious to see how we're both going to be right in this one.
It'll happen, though.
I'm sure it'll happen. Show me the tape. Show me one time I've been wrong.
Right.
All right, so we'll do a quick run back for our picks against the spread here. So we all took Nick to cover his 3-point favorite. Jeff and I have Stank covering against Ben, or Jeff and Nick have Stank covering against Ben. I'm sorry, I have Ben in that game. Jeff has himself. Me and Nick have Joe with a double up there, worth 2 wins if you get it. The three of us all picked Tony to cover against Kyle. I think he's going to win that game outright. Nick thinks Kyle's going to win. Jeff, who do you got winning that game outright?
Well, that's a tough one. I would go with Kamo. Kyle wins that.
All right, and then we've got Jeff and myself both have me. Nick decided to pick Bitch Cooley, so that'll be interesting to see how that one, a 1-point spread, turns out. Nick and Jeff have Troy to cover his 13-point spread against Jordan. Jordan, I'm here for you. I'm here for you all the time. You're my boy, Jordan. So that's our
except for last week.
Except for most of the time. So with all that out of the way, to everybody in the league, good luck in your rivalry week matchups, unless you're a bitch. I'll see you guys later.
Webster's Dictionary defines radish as a swollen, pungent-tasting edible root high in potassium, which can help lower blood pressure. Or more importantly, 3 guys spitting nonsense and talking about fantasy football. Add salt and pepper and chomp into another episode next time. See y'all later.